my name is Laura. Welcome to the Running on Yarn YouTube channel. I'm the dyer and owner behind Running on Yarn, and I've been doing this for the channel's new. Yarn stuff I've been doing about 3 years. So we'll talk a little bit about dyeing, knitting, crocheting, all the things. So welcome. We're going to start today. I want to show you what I'm currently working on. And I am actually using my yarn. Even though I dye yarn, I use everybody's yarn. I love all yarns, but today I'm actually using my yarn. So I'm working on currently by Suzanne Summers, her hoodie shawl cardigan. So I'm using my Airy sock yarn, and this yarn is actually not available on my website right now except for in my yarn bouquets, so check out those if you want this yarn. It's super squishy and just drapes really nicely. So this cardigan is really nice because it's actually kind of starts with like a shawl, like a triangle shawl. So that's what you start by making. I'm gonna get a little bit closer to the camera here. So you start by making this triangle shawl, and you stripe it, and it's all in garter. So I like anything in garter, honestly. It took me a few years to actually like garter, but now I really like it. And then where I'm at from there is you separate for the arms, and you start doing some German short rows just to make, kind of fill in all of that stuff from the V all the way around to the front. So then that is all in stockinette. So I think you can see that. So far, this is about a week's work. I'm really enjoying this. Kind of work on it during nap times. But that's what I'm currently working on. The colors I'm using, I've got all the pink. I do believe I have a single ply of that available online. Shiny black, which is kind of more of a gray, but it's really like a really dark gray. So, and on my single ply, it really looks like a shiny black. So that's where it got its name. And then my favorite teal, which does tend to look a little bit more teal in person than on camera, but this might be my best-selling color. And this is probably one of my little bit lighter dye lots. I'll show you in a shawl I'm going to show later another time when I used it, and it's a little bit darker, I think, but that might have been the pairing of colors too. So, all right. So that's currently my work in progress. I've got a million more, but we're not going to go into this today because they're like half finished and they're not really what I'm focusing on right now. I want to know, do you do just one project, or do you have like 8 going at a time? And do you get bored and so you just start a new project? Because that's what I do. And then sometimes it takes me a really long time to get back to that other project. So, and then usually when I finish a project, I get in like a finishing mood and I finish like 4 things, or like, cause they're really close. So a lot of times I don't know, I'm terrible about putting ends in. So finish a project, and then I'll put the ends of like 3 projects in. So then I feel like I finished 4 projects, but not really true. So, all right. So what I really want to talk about today is it's Westknits Mystery Knit Along season coming up. And so I think October 9th is the release day of the first part of the pattern. So if you're thinking about doing it, we want to think about it now so you can pick out your yarn. And we're going to pick out the yarn for mine today. So, but before we do that, we're going to talk about some of the other Westknits Mystery Knit Alongs that I've participated in and made, and I'm going to show you some of them. I think his patterns are so fun. They tend to be in like sections, so it's easy to like, for me, like check off a section and then I get to go on to the next one. And so most of the time that's how his Mystery Knit Alongs are. So a lot of times there's like section 1 on 2 on the first clue, just because it's starting, a lot of them start really small and then grow. So anyways, so we'll talk about those. So I use a little of my cheat sheet. So what I'm going to tell you is when they came out and when I made them, probably show them to you in the order I made them. There's one that I can't find today, and I'll talk a little bit about that, and that's the first one I actually made. So I think I have a picture of it, so if I do, I'll put a picture right here. But that's called the Doodler, and I picked that. That was my first official shawl, and I picked that because I was really into cables at the time. I just finished a sweater that I had done all this cable work on, and I didn't gauge, and I didn't really understand like a gauge swatch at the time, and so I kind of did a makeshift one. I still do that for some projects, but for this one, I knew better, but I didn't know how to use them. So I made this beautiful shawl or sweater, and it didn't fit. And I've only worn it like 3 times to this day because it's huge. But I was still really into cables after that sweater. I just didn't want to make another sweater, so I found Doodler, which has a nice cable at the top. So that one was pretty fun. That was probably my first biggest project, and I got to the end of that, I'm like, geez, I'm not going to make this again. But now I really do want to go back and make it again a few years later. And it's only 3 colors, almost 3 full skeins, I think. Not quite 3 full skeins. And I want to do it right because I made a mistake on mine. I picked up the wrong part, and I would have undone it, except I had already knit an entire edging of a skein of yarn for an edging, and I wasn't going to go back and redo it. So that's the first one. I apologize, I don't have it, but check that out especially on Ravelry. I'll put links in the description below so you can go see these as well. So the next one we're going to talk about is Exploration Station. If we're talking about sections, I really liked this one for that. So this is Exploration Station. So you start with these wedges at the top, and then you go into a brioche section, and then a slip stitch section, then kind of this like semi-garter, semi-stripe section, and then the chevron edging. So this yarn is hedgehog fibers, and I cannot tell you the colors of them. I'm just not sure. I might be able to find some of them, but I don't have the labels anymore. I do believe this one right here might have been a potluck, but I'm not quite sure. So, but I really liked this one. This one's a nice wearable shawl. It also isn't maybe the biggest of all of his shawls, so that's really nice if you're looking for a little bit smaller project. It does take 4 colors, but if I remember right, I've only used about half, maybe a little over half of each of those skeins, so it does take a little less yarn, which is nice. And it's really wearable. So my favorite way to wear it is just around like so. And it fits pretty nicely. I mean, you can see I'm all about the colors showing, so that's typically how I wear it. It's not really quite big enough for me to wear around my shoulders, although I have tried to do that. And I'll stand up so you can see. So it kind of fits nicely. But to do that, I really feel like you need a shawl pin because it's really not long enough to tie. So, and I don't ever wear a lot of shawl pins, so I only have like 2. But yeah, I tend to just wear it as a scarf, and you can see it that way just as well. It stays around, like if you wear it just like this, it stays around your shoulders pretty nicely, but I just tend not to do that. So again, this is Exploration Station. I made this in the winter of 2016, but it was actually released in 2014. So this was my second shawl. The Doodler was my first. I also made it out of hedgehog. This is my second shawl out of hedgehog. And you're going to see I love hedgehog in my next few shawls that I show you. So Mystery Knit Along 2014, and definitely a great knit. So highly recommend that. Okay, so the next one, somehow I put this all the way on the bottom. Not quite on the bottom, but. So this one was the one that came out in 2016, and it's called Building Blocks. So this one's really big, so I'm going to try to show you. I did the large size, and I just love the geometry of it. Again, I used hedgehog. And the only one I can tell you for sure is this dark gray black is called Graphite. But again, I think we used like pretty much almost all of every single yarn in this one. So, but I really like this one. So this construction of this one, you start actually at the bottom with this nice little 3 squares, and then each section goes up more. So it's always playing with 2 colors and then 1 color, and then 2 colors and then 1 color, all the way up. And you end with the same stripe, like garter stripe at the top. So this is like the same garter stripe that is in that shawl that shawl hoodie that I'm doing. So there's a little bit of brioche in there, and this is kind of like a funky garter stripe. Then this is kind of a fun stripe because all of the black is it's garter, but then it's stockinette. The pink is all stockinette, so it has a really nice texture to it. So, and then of course, as most of Westknits shawls seem to have, is a nice long I-cord bind off. And I did take the time to do a striped one. And that one took me forever. I think that was the first really big one I did. I'm trying to remember. That didn't stick out in my mind on Exploration Station. That was a long time ago. So this particular shawl I wear a lot. So I do wear it a lot like this. I'm going to kind of stand up, maybe and down a little bit. Tend to wear it a little bit asymmetrical. So maybe you can see just like that. The other way I wear this one, and I love it because it's so long, is just around my shoulders like that. And so this one, you could definitely use a shawl pin if that's your thing. Definitely not my thing, so I tend to just tie it and then wear it like that. But also, like it wears and stays on your shoulders if you just let it drape. So it's a nice one. I wear this one, let's see, out of all of them, this is probably tying for the most worn shawl that I have. So I have one at the end that I'll show that we made last year that I wear maybe as much because it's just really not quite so loud. I'll show you. But again, building blocks. This yarn in particular is hedgehog fibers. And one cool thing about the colors on this is my mom and my husband and I had gotten to take a class with Stephen West in Bozeman at Yarn Scout, and he helped me pick out these colors, so he knew exactly where to put them, and I still had no idea what it looked like. So, but that kind of makes this shawl a little bit special to me as well. So, all right, on to the next. So the next one is one that probably my least worn shawl in this bunch. And it's again made out of hedgehog fibers. I have never blocked this one, so I think someday maybe I should. But this is the color craving one. So it's really long. So I'm going to kind of show you like so. Really, really, really long. It's essentially like a couple of triangle or three or let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 triangle shawls put together. You start with this really long narrow one with these huge yarn overs, and then each corner has one as well. So it was a pretty fun knit. I have never really blocked it because I really can't figure out how to wear it, if I'm being totally honest. So there's all these nice yarn over holes and stuff like that, but they would pop out more if I would actually block it, but I just haven't. There's also a really nice edging on this one. So this one's not an I-cord edge. This is a picot edge, and these are pretty nice. I would also like to block it to like pull them out and make them stick out a little bit more. I think that would look pretty cool as well. So it's going to take a lot of T-pins. I don't know if I have that many right now, but I have tried wearing this and I end up taking it off halfway through the day because I just don't know how to wear it. So if you have any suggestions, I am open to them. Please send them my way. Put them in the comments below. So, okay, and that one, let me tell you the stats on that one. I have my cheat sheet because I don't remember them all. That one was the Mission Knit Along in 2013, and I made that one sometime in like 16, 17. I'm not exactly sure. Probably in 17, I'm guessing. But, and that's again hedgehog fibers. So, the next one is Speckle and Pop. So this was the 2017 one. So I will mention Building Blocks was the first one I actually did in real time, because I don't think it was like a year before that I really learned about Westknits. And I think I learned about him like after the knit along. So Building Blocks was my first one I did in real time. So then this one also I did in real time. So Speckle and Pop. So you choose all the speckles. You can see, I'm back up now. I moved closer, but now I'm going to back up. And I'm just going to hold that up for a minute. There's this really funky little thing out to the side. And then I'm going to give you a close-up of all the speckles. So then you can see those pops in there. So it was a really fun pattern to knit. I don't tend to wear this very much, but I think it's color-wise why I don't wear it. It turned out way more pastel-y than I thought it would, and I'm not sure why I didn't think it would turn out really pastel-y, but I didn't. So maybe next time I would choose like a darker base. I don't know what I would do, but the main base in here is from Western Sky Knits, and it's her Aspen sock. And then all of the pops are leftover hedgehogs. So, and they're from past projects. So starting with that blue, you saw that in the chevron border on the like exploration station. This yellow, I'm gonna come a little closer for this one. The yellow came from Color Craving. This pink was a little bit left over from Building Blocks. This purple actually came from Doodler. I put that as my cable section on the Doodler. So, and then the orange also came from Color Craving. Have I gone through all of them? Yeah, I think so. So, really like that. Again, there's all different kinds of things in here. There's a little bit of brioche. I don't know if you can see that. And then just a lot of really nice garter. So I think one thing that Stephen West does really nice is he does a lot of garter, a lot of simple stuff, and plays with so much color. So for sure, working up a lot of his stuff has challenged my color, I guess I tend to choose the same colors, and I like bright colors, but they all like kind of do the same thing. So he challenges how I pick out colors. That's what I want to say. So again, 2017. So this is a really fun little knit, and I definitely recommend it. The next one is Texture Time. Yep. So I'm going to kind of lean back so you can hopefully see this. This one was really fun. They're all really fun, but this yarn was Ching Fibers. There's the Melted Surrey. And then I can't remember, I think the Melted Surrey was the Bedrock, but this is a BFL fingering that they had too. And so there's actually 3 different colors of gray in there, and you fade them together. And then there's these really fun little braids. I'm going to show you those. And then this Melted Surrey is super, super soft. So there's a lot of different textures in here, hence the name. So this was a fun one. I actually ordered this kit from Stephen and Penelope, and it was just kind of a funny story. The release time was like 8 o'clock my time. And so my student helping me, and so I had my foam ready to go, and I had kind of picked out what I wanted, and I think what I actually wanted was sold out by the time I finally got on, but this is what I ended up with, and I love, love, love these colors. So definitely something fun. He had, I think this was the first time he did his bubble stuff, the bubble stitches, and I didn't love doing the bubble stitches. I think they might be nicer if it was all just the Blueface Luster or like just an easy yarn to see. With this dark blue and the melted sturdy, it was really hard to see. So I have done one more shawl with the bubbles in it, but a lighter color, and it was still melted suri. They were a lot easier to see, like it didn't frustrate me quite as much. So, and then the bind off on this one is kind of interesting because you fold it under and you kind of knit it in. So that's kind of fun. The last cool feature of this is has a lot of Westknits patterns and a lot of ends. So this one, he just had us make like these little mini skeins. So you just twisted them and they just hang out on the back and they look pretty finished. I don't mind it at all. Nobody really sees it, but anyways. I don't wear this one a whole ton because it's super, super warm. So, but when I do, sometimes I wear it here. This would be like my second choice of how to wear this one, even though I do wear it that way. But this one is so nice because it sits really nicely down your back. So I'm just going to turn around so you can see. And it just kind of, it covers your arms, which I really like, and you don't really need a shawl pin. It just kind of hangs super, super nicely. So you could certainly do a shawl pin if you wanted. This one's probably the biggest Westknits pattern I've done, for sure, except for Starfling finished one of those. It's upstairs right now, so we're not going to go over that, but this one's probably big, like it's big enough that it's pretty warm. So I liked most of the yarn on here. For me personally, I like BFL, Blueface Luster, because it has a lot of good structure to it. Takes up color really nicely when I'm actually dyeing, but this particular BFL attracts my dog's hair like none other. So for me personally, I don't use a lot of it, but it is really beautiful. I love the colors and all the different, all the textures in this one. So anyways, that is texture time. That one was fall of 2018. So last one. So this one definitely, this one rivals texture time for my favorite. So this was the first one I actually made out of my yarn. So this was 2 years after I started dyeing. So this is actually my colors. So this is my favorite teal I was telling you about earlier. So you can see it's seems a little bit darker to me in this. So maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's just the color of my contrast color. So, but again, this one's really nice in sections. You start with these parallelograms, and then you go to these stripes, and then you go to some brioche, which anything with brioche is, you got me. And then these nice little stripes here. I'm gonna kind of close to the camera so you can see. There's some of like the eyelets and stuff, and then just a nice edging. So, yeah, and of course a striped I-cord bind off that takes 10 million years. So, but I actually wear this one a lot. So I've taken this one on a couple of trips. I usually take one shawl on a trip. I try to pick something that goes with everything. So this one's really nice because it's not quite so loud, but it's still so pretty. Last year we went to a conference in November, and where the conference was held was like on a hockey rink, and it was pretty cold a couple of the days, but not like warm enough for a jacket. So I just wore this, and it was plenty just to give me an extra layer. So how do I wear this one? I do this one a lot like this. It's caught on my hair. Because I feel like this is such a classic way to wear any of Westknit shawls, or really any shawls in general. But then the other one, the way is still the same that I've been doing with most of them, is just around here. So for this in particular, I like to wear it like this because it shows off the star shape. So I'm going to kind of bend down so you can see. So I like that. When it's crunched up around the front, you can't really see the starflake like pattern. So I really like to show off the pattern. Also like this because of how the starflake ends up being, is it stays over me really nicely, so I don't need a shawl pin. So that's definitely one of my favorites for that. Like I said, I think Texture Time and this one are my most worn. So this was last year, 2019. And so as far as colors in here, I know I've already mentioned this was my favorite teal. So that's available on my website. And this exact yarn is available on my website right now. It's a single ply. And then red wine is the red. So I'll give you another close up of that, of both of those. This red wine is just like super beautiful. And that's both of these are combinations that I make on my own. I don't depend on, I use the dyes, but I don't depend on their colorways to be my colorway. I actually mix this myself. So some of them end up like being a little lighter, like we saw with this. It's the same color, but it is just a little bit lighter. So so there's 3 that I haven't made, and maybe I will get to them this year. Because as I was researching to do this presentation today, I realized that there's 3 I had not done, and I think I might have to make them. So, and Westknits has a bundle of all of their mystery knit-alongs on Ravelry. So go ahead and get on Ravelry and check that out, because it'll have all of them. But the only ones I haven't done, I'm going to move a little closer again, is Rockefeller, which was the 2012 one, Earth and Sky, which was 2011, and then the Marled Magic, which was like a winter of 2017. So I just didn't get in on that one because of timing, I think. So maybe I didn't even know about it. I'm not sure. But anyway, so this year's, like I mentioned earlier, starts on October 9th. So what I was going to do today was pick out the colors for my this year's Mystery Knit-along colors here on video. So, and I'm going to use my yarn again this year. And I think I'm going to do, I know I'm going to do my single ply fingering base again. I love this base. So on my website, it is solid singles. I think it's all under solid singles currently. So, yeah, I have a few sparkly ones on there, but I think everything pretty much is solid right now. So, this year, well, I already bought the pattern, so I'm ready to go, ready to receive it. If you want to get in on this, it's worth it to buy the pattern now before you pick out your yarn, because he has some guidelines on how to pick it and some suggestions. And then he also has all the kits that they put together for Stephen and Penelope to give you ideas. So this year he mentioned that there's you need 2 skeins of a main color and 3 contrast colors. So the contrast colors need to be way contrasting with the main color. So you could either do a light main color and do darker contrast, or you could do a dark main color and lighter contrast. So as I was going through this, so I've tried to record this a couple of times, and every time I've come up with a different combination. So, and then as I was thinking about it again, because I needed to re-record again, I picked out what I want for my main color, and I'm not going back from that. So we're gonna have to pick out the contrast color to go with that. So let me pull those out here. So this is my sea glass base, and it looks a little bright there, but it is really beautiful. I love, love, love this color. One of my ambassadors this year actually did, she made a scarf pattern. Her name is Maria Keffler. She has Wild and Plum, and I can link to that as well down below, but she did this beautiful scarf, lacy scarf that had pearl beads in it. It was gorgeous. I think like the pearly color just goes so well with this like sea glass. I don't know. I just love this color. So this is going to be my main color. So I know this is going to frame whatever colors we choose from here, and we want them to be pretty high contrast. So let's see what we have for darker. So I'm going to put that back there for now. Or even just like different. So this is one that stood out to me right away. This one's called Girls Trip. I have a couple different. This one came out just a little bit different than that. A little more pink. You can see that difference there just a little bit. So I'm going to put that with both of them, and we're going to look. And I think I'm going to go with this one, the one that's just a little bit darker. And I think that's a good contrast. It is still pretty light, but I think that's okay. So I think, he didn't say this, but I think I want my other colors to tie into this just a bit. So, there's this really nice purple right there. Doesn't quite match it, but from what I understand, these are never going to play with each other. This is only going to be framed by the sea glass. So that would be one. I'm not sure I'm crazy about that yet, but we could also just do all solids, which I tend to end up doing. So what if we did maybe that, yeah. So those two go. I'm going to say they're an interesting choice. I don't think they're the worst choice. They're an interesting choice. That, I mean, shiny black kind of goes with anything, I feel like. And I still really like those two together. This is the one I'm not sure about. And I'm not sure that this like goes in with this as well as I would like it to. But it might work. So another option would be, this is denim. So I really like that color. That might work really nicely together too. That'll tie into both just a little bit, I think. So, and then it's all framed with, I'm going to try to grab my other sea glass. Be all framed with that. So there's that one. I'm still not super sold on this in this particular setup. So there's one more that may be a good one. So this is called Midnight. It's supposed to be blue. And in the camera, I'm noticing it really does look blue. But in real life, it looks a little bit purple. So maybe you can kind of see that. So that might be a fun one. I think those two look nice together. I'm going to hold this up, those two up, so you can see those. And last but not least, those always are good. I think I'm liking that a little bit more. It's definitely dark and light. I almost feel like this one though just needs, we need one in here that isn't so dark. So I don't have a lot of speckles right now. That's why I'm not picking out a lot of speckles. No, that one's too big. I do have one speckle we could try. And that one is kind of like a gray. So this one's called Almost Spring. This is a custom dye I did for my mom last year. And so it's got a lot of different colors in it. So let's pull this in. Just different. I think it's too close to that same tone. So I think I'm going to stick with, I think I'm going to go back to this like unusual pick. And the reason I'm picking this unusual pick over this one that seems a little more safe is I think, just personal opinion, I think these three are way too close together, especially these two. So from a distance, that's not going to look as fun. But this, I think, looks a lot more fun. So if there's one thing I've learned knitting up Stephen West patterns is the crazier the color combo, the more unlikely combination that you pick, usually the better it looks. So, I mean, everything is based off of contrast, right? So, one of the biggest things, and I think I mentioned this just a minute ago, was that he said that this is going to frame, like that your main color will frame all of them. So I think this will frame and pull out the color of each of them really, really nicely. So those are my colors for Mystery Knit Along 2020. So I want to know what you guys think of my color choices, what you think of my picks. If you go on my website and you see any better combinations, or you want to see them like in a picture together, I can certainly put that on my Instagram and Facebook. So I would love to hear what you guys think. If you enjoyed this video, please click subscribe and like, and definitely leave me a comment of other things you would like to see, and pass this on to anyone who loves to knit. I'm just starting this, so this is all brand new to me, and I can't wait to share more of my knitting journey with you and more of my crafting journey. I have other things that I'm working on right now too, so hopefully we'll pick those up in the future episodes. So thank you so much for watching along with me, and click subscribe and like, and we'll talk to you later.